We'll call out discussions, and then you guys will call yours to order.
Okay.
Because we still have to do minutes and all that real quick.
Certainly don't, that's why it's looking at it.
There's an energy part of it.
I got that for you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Water heater.
Park it there, boy.
And it's already.
And Dave Schilling's on his way. He said we can go ahead and start.
Okay. I'm gonna wait till somebody sits down here.
So like. So that some of these people can get it done for free. Like, yeah. And they pay, that's what we're trying to figure out is if they pay the contractor. You would think, but then like what contractor wants to pay the government?
Gentlemen, everybody get started.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening, and welcome to the Brown County Area Planning Commission on April 28, 2026 at 6 p.m. For those who are in the room, please turn off their phones or put them on silent. And no side conversations because it impairs people to be able to hear what's going on. And with that, Brown County Planning Commission order roll call.
Carol Bowden,
Present.
Tim Allen,
Here.
Jane Gore,
Here.
Randy Jones,
Here.
Terry Hammis, Andy Boyles,
Here.
Kyle Decker.
Do I have an approval of minutes from March 24, 2026?
I'll move to approve the minutes of March 24th, 2026.
I'll second it.
As submitted.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Tim Allen,
Yes.
Jane Gore,
Yes.
Randy Jones,
Yes.
Andy Boyles,
Yes.
Carol Bowden.
Yes. Okay, we have no old business. We have no new business. We are now down to discussions, announcement, and inspector's report. We are having a joint meeting of the Brown County Area Planning Commission and the Brown County Board of Commissioners to discuss the preparation of adaptation or any other proposed options that the Board of Commission or the Commission will suggest regarding the Brown County Comprehensive Plan.
Okay. I'm Tim Clark. I call the Brown County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. The commissioners present, all three, is Tim Clark, Kevin Patrick, and Ron Sanders. All right. Want me to kick it off?
Sure.
Or do you guys want to kick it off? How do you want to do it? All right, let me explain the materials. I passed on the on your email. I think you got the packet. Started with Brown County, and you bring that up, Daniel.
Okay.
This one, the residential bedroom community with tourism. I'll go over that on the screen. I'll just highlight. No, it's not that one. It's the other one. Should look like this, the front page. There. And when that comes up, and you guys got this in your email without the yellow highlights, but, and then what I did, we printed out an enclosure of one, so you wouldn't have to print it out from the other handout. I've got a lot of links in there, and yeah, that's it. All right, and then I've got a couple maps, just maybe we'll get to that point, just to give you a little context. I've got a Brown County Township and Census Tract blocks on the far left on the whiteboard, so you can see the townships. And I overlaid it with census tracts, which is our population by those particular areas that include the low to moderate income levels. And then I showed you just a different map of the townships that have a little more features in it. And so one of the matrices I'll introduce in here will break things down by township. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is my best memory, but we started this, the update to the comprehensive plan back in 2024, the fall. I think the foundation had $27,000 they could give that had to be spent in a certain amount of time or committed. Then the APC kicked in $10,000. We had a short window to get community input, use survey through social media or any other way. We get the survey out to get the response. And then we had 2 meetings on the same day, 2 public meetings same day. These Van Buren and Nashville. And then you had several working session groups. Went through all the input that was provided by the consultant and the working group and the survey information and the feedback you got from those 2 meetings, and then came up with the comprehensive plan draft 3, I think is where we're at, right?
Now, we started with definitions.
Okay.
Updating all the definitions because they were outdated. That was where we started and had to complete that. That was the first thing that we did from a grant, from a financial grant. And then was moving on to, all right, now we got to look at the ordinances and start to update them appropriately for what's going on now.
Okay. So what we did with the commissioners, we took a look at the comprehensive plan. We looked at it. Our concern was the need for more community engagement. And so that was our biggest concern, is do we get the voice of everybody in the county to update a comprehensive plan that would drive development and planning? And so that was our biggest concern, so we kind of tabled it. At that point, what we did was we asked the RDC to come up with with a community engagement kind of strategy. But the first thing we did, we asked them, we wanted to look to see if we could get that grant from Okra for the $60,000 comprehensive plan. So that's where the census tract data came from to calculate the LMI. The Census Bureau did that one. And the LMI came out with 40.4%. You needed 53.1% to qualify for an Okra loan, that comprehensive plan. And we were nowhere close, obviously. Income has gone up significantly over the last few years. And so we looked at the census tract data and we talked to Okra and said, hey, if we kicked out a couple of these census tracts, would we qualify or would you accept it? And they were absolutely no. There's no way you're going to qualify based on the LMI to get the 60,000. So then what we did is worked with the RDC and came up and we applied for the Rural Economic Development Grant to help build community engagement was the whole point. And so we put together a grant. Our grant administrator helped us with that one. We put the information together, put the grant, said, hey, we'd like to help develop a community capability to support updates to comprehensive plan that we go countywide with this thing. And so, I thought it was a pretty thorough application, but they came back and said, well, they didn't approve it because we didn't have a community capability. So it's like a catch-22. We needed help to develop it, but they said since you didn't have it, that didn't really meet the qualifications they were looking for in the red grant.
And what was that, the red grant?
Yeah, it's a rural economic development. I think that's the term. They call it red, and that's from Okra. And that was Ball State. I was involved in,
That's the REDI grant.
No, that's RED.
Okay,
That's
RED,
different.
okay.
That's totally different. And so we did qualify for that one. And then we had the RDC take a look at what would how would we do a community engagement kind of strategy for the county? And then that led really to where we're at today, is what would that look like? If we were to involve the community, how would we do it? How would we roll it out? Could we do a prototype in some place and use that elsewhere? So that kind of brought us up to here. So that's kind of the background of where we're at on this one. One of the things on the first page, and you look at the first paragraph, is what are we? What's our story? So often when you think of Brown County, and even if you look at the Regional Opportunity Initiative website, which oversees development in our region with several counties, when you look at the Brown County website, it's a focus on Nashville and tourism. Well, we're more than that, but yet that's how they market us. But that's not what we are. That's not the total picture. And so when you look at that, what I try to do in a paragraph is look at Brown County, Indiana, try to do a story. And the story in the comp plan is, can we get a consensus on what that common vision would be, what that common story would be? And so here I've got Brown County, Indiana as a community defined not by conventional economic development metrics, but by its extraordinary natural landscape, rural character, and the quality of life it affords its residents. With a total adjusted gross income exceeding $510 million, of which tourism contributes approximately $21 million in gross wages, the county's economic engine is fundamentally driven by its role as a high-income bedroom community, a destination for retirees, an attractive home for residents commuting outside the county for work, and for remote workers who benefit from the county's expanding broadband coverage. This coverage now reaches approximately 85 to 90% of the population. This demographic supports local businesses in the county, including construction, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, tree service, property management, retail, and other amenities provided by the tourism industry. And again, we also have a population of folks in the low to moderate income levels, and we applied for the $500,000 Okra grant for the rehabilitation of homes, and so that's in process. So we're trying to catch both here. And so ultimately, too, our identity is built on a deliberate policy of high income taxes and low property taxes. The majority of our income is coming in from income taxes, and we have the lowest property tax rate in the state. that attracts, that's a driver for second homes, it's a driver for tourist rentals, and it's a driver for rents as well. And we've got a lot of people living outside the county that benefit from those rentals, but we also have a lot of residents that benefit from those tourist rentals as well. So it's part of our economic base. In supporting the assessment, there's a research conducted by Ball State and Morton Marcus. Ball State, it's kind of a bad thinking, but when we did the Stellar grant back when and didn't get the first round, Ball State offered to come in and do a community readiness initiative for change. And so they developed an assessment, had a lot of people involved in that one. And they basically,
Can I interrupt for a second?
yeah,
When was that done?
2016, I think it was.
2016?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. And so Ball State at the time, they said, and then there's a good article in the paper on the best bets for local economy, but it's really 5 categories that they recommended is housing, attracting more residents, recreation was number 1 and 2, wholesale, production, retail. And I think the business side had a little different arrangement of what those would be. I think they may have had housing as number 3, but that's the Ball State thing. And if you look at our numbers and you look at where the income stream is coming, they're probably right on the housing. When you look, and I track the income, and when you look at the over 50,000 income has been steadily increasing, the 50 and below is steadily decreasing. So we're getting more of the higher income. And when you look at those at adjusted gross income, which is the base of our income tax, you can see the higher incomes. COVID resulted in a lot more people moving down here as well. And then recreation, when you talk to a lot of people, that's a big driver. That's new. The whole bicycle thing is new. The mountain biking, and it's not so much the mountain biking, you see that at the state park, for instance, on the mountain biking, but it's more than that. Gravel is a big attractor here. Our gravel roads attracts a certain segment of the bicycles, and there's several different bikes that specialize in just gravel roads. And then, of course, the paved roads. So you're getting a lot more people down here doing the biking, the mountain biking, the gravel roads, the paved roads, and just love that terrain. And I've seen different heat maps of different populations that come down here on the weekend, and it's pretty significant. And then what happens is you get those folks that come down, that younger demographic, and you can kind of see these, it's kind of funny when you see these Mercedes-Benz $100,000 vehicles, with about $30,000 worth of bikes on the back end, and they come down for recreation, and then they stop at a restaurant or see a music center event, and then they look at it and say, hey, this wouldn't be a bad place to live. And so we're attracting that particular demographic that like to live in a rural area, but yet want the amenities that recreation provides and that the tourism business offers. So, and I've talked to several people, and they go, well, if you didn't have the restaurants and you didn't have the music center, you didn't have this, I wouldn't be interested. I would have moved to Zionsville. So all that thing contributes to attracting a new demographic down here, the younger people that can work from home or establish a small business here in the county. So it's a little different. On the next page, Morton Marcus, I've had a couple meetings with him. It's pretty interesting, retired economist. He said reinforce that 77% of our earnings are realized outside the county, which just reinforces the fact that we're a residential community. 77% outside the county. And again, the robust tourism industry attracts visitors and new folks. In 2025, we talked about the Veritas and Context prepared the draft comprehensive plan. Again, I think as a starting point, if you look at that plan, you look at the 93 draft, you look at the 2011 plan, you look at some of the efforts here. If you put AI on it and merge them all, we probably have a pretty good story. And then the goal of the draft plan really is to drive, to have that common vision and to help prioritize what folks want in the different areas. And so the bottom line here, I've got a goal for revisions and updates should include input from additional public meetings through direct engagement with the residents of each township. This could be initiated through a prototype or proof of concept meeting in support of a sub-area plan. On that sub-area plan, I reached out to Cynthia Bowen from Rennell Ernst Berger Associates. They did the comprehensive plan for Nashville. And so I asked her, given this information and given the story and this, what would you recommend as far as is a prototype make sense? For instance, if we could do a prototype in Van Buren and have meetings there and then use the input from that and then finalize whatever that is if we get the input and things that we need and the involvement and then take that on the road to the other townships as well.
I guess I'm not sure what you mean for a public engagement session.
Uh-huh.
So what does that look like?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I got 2 attachments, and I'll just go through quickly on that, but I'll focus in on one of the more important areas. On the draft comprehensive plan, I've been looking at these forever. We've got a current version in 2011, and we're all familiar with that one. And this is on page, I don't know if our pages are in sync, but mine is 3. There's a
On the
draft.
bottom.
Pardon me?
It's on the
Yeah, it's on
bottom.
3.
Okay, good. And then there's a draft, I don't know if anybody saw this, and I think I gave you a copy at one time on this 93 plan, maybe you still have it, but anyway, there's a draft comprehensive plan, it's about 100 pages, and it's pretty good. It broke things down by, they called it, instead of townships, they broke it down by hamlets, which I thought was pretty interesting. And they had a lot of folks involved, but it never went anywhere. So I don't know what the story on that one was, but it didn't look bad. I've got a copy of it and got a couple links if you want to look at those. 2025, I mentioned the census tract, the LMI average. That was pretty interesting. When you look at these different areas and you look at the low to moderate income levels, Nashville probably is one of the smallest income level in the county. The lakes are probably the highest, followed by Narbonne. In Narbonne, if you go north of 46, there's a lot of nice homes up there. So that was kind of interesting. So we did the census tracts by the townships.
A lot of nice houses south, and
Yeah.
I don't say so myself.
If you're interested in the numbers, I've got a spreadsheet that lists all the census tract and the population. But again, overall, it's like 40.4. So we're doing pretty good on the income things. So to get to your point, Andy, it's like requirements and expectations. There it is. It starts. Here's what we can have at a public meeting. What do you want residents to know? And for instance, I think these are the critical things. Residents following is how their property and area is zoned. I think it'd be nice if every resident knew how their particular property was zoned. In addition to the zoning, say you're in R2, you also need to know what your zoning district is. And you could live in an R2 and you could be in a lake district, and that permits different things in both categories. And I don't know if you guys remember the Borif decision where they had a boat on what was it?
Beach Tree.
Peachtree, yeah. So he lived in an R2 and a resident was surprised that a non-residential property could be developed there. And then the Lake District allowed him to put a accommodating business, I think is the term that they used. So it's kind of interesting, surprise, I didn't know this could happen in my area. And that's a nice thing to do if you've got, here's how your property's zoned, and then also know what your zoning district is. And I think, yeah, we'll get to that. The third type is what type of developments or allowable uses are allowed within their district. And if you look at the zoning ordinance, there's a section in there that tells you exactly what goes on in every district, what's allowable uses. And so I think people would be surprised that, they could have a heliport next door. But I mean, it's just being facetious,
Well,
but there's.
I am I'm so excited to hear you say that, because there's a way to put all that integrated into GIS. It's just, we gotta pay somebody smart enough to do that.
Okay.
Like, that would be amazing. The flood maps and the zoning on GIS would be a game changer. We'd almost be up to date with all the other counties.
We've got the flood maps on there.
Is it on there now?
Yeah.
Well, it's 2011 elevation
That's-
data though, is the most recent
It's
I found.
2016 FEMA now that's on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right.
I think so. That's on the public GIS.
And we are working at right now it's the DNR's flood maps, which is supposed to be the same as FEMA's, but we're also working to get FEMA's on there also as another layer.
Who puts that in there? Who inputs it?
Tom,
Okay.
Which one takes precedent?
Yeah.
depends on where you're at.
Depends on where it's controlled, who's controlling it.
There's a problem. Therein lies a lot of problem.
Yeah, the flooding, I mean, that's why she had to go to take courses to become the floodplain coordinator.
Yeah.
It depends on what your project even is. And that depends on who takes precedence over the other. It's really a fun.
They're
And
supposed to
to
manage
be
it.
honest, having dealt with several particular offices with the state in that manner, They don't know.
No, they don't.
They really don't.
No, I know.
I asked them to show me a white paper of like a wall assembly,
That
but
was
how to
the
do this particular thing. They
That
didn't
was
have
the reason
one.
for my original question is you can talk to Core.
They referred me to a county website in Montana. That's the state. And I'm not dogging it. It's not like the person I was talking to had the information for me. She didn't know, so.
Well, I guess we want to work with what we have. So,
I don't have any contacts at FEMA. I work directly with DNR,
right.
so that's all I know.
Oh, so FEMA has no input.
So
Well,
Other
FEMA
than
is
what?
like the very top rung,
Uh-huh,
and then DNR is who we deal with, and then us local.
okay.
So all of my correspondence goes through DNR, and then they liaison with FEMA.
Okay. See the confusion here?
Too many cooks in the kitchen.
The GIS is a technology we haven't had the resources to explore.
Well, I'm not sure the GIS is the problem here.
It's not, I don't really think the GIS is the issue, it's the, the red tape everywhere else.
Right.
That makes the, but, I mean, if, as a design professional, you don't rely upon GIS for the flood information. It gets you in the ballpark, and then you go and you do your research to get the flood information.
but you should be able to rely on it for your zoning
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Well, that's
That,
probably-
and, yeah,
and right of ways and things like that.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And ideally, your infrastructure.
Boy,
Um,
I'm sure the infrastructure companies would like to know where all their stuff's at too.
Well, yeah.
That's for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, I think, and I'll have you bring up the link in a minute, but what type of developments or uses are allowed within their district, and I'll show you that. We'll bring up that matrix in a minute. The other one is the special exceptions. I think people need to know about that one. So you think of these community meetings, okay, what would you want people to walk out? These are the things I'd want people to walk out with. Do they know what their zoning is? Do they know what district they live in? Do they know what's allowed within their districts? And do they understand special exceptions? Because that's part of the matrix. They understand what could go in their area as well. And then the last one is, wow, it is all on us. It's how the process of zoning has changed. If they want to change in their area or somebody else is making a change in the area, what does that process look like? And we live with that one. I mean, you guys go through and look at the changes, you recommend it, and then we've got to vote. And those are probably the most contentious votes that we have, or the contentious meetings we can possibly have in this county. Not that that's not fun, but I think there's things we could do to kind of minimize some of that stuff. Danielle, if you would, at the bottom for references under that, there's a Brown County zoning ordinance districts and allowable uses. If you could click on that.
I think you're too far down.
Yeah, it should be around bottom of page 3, references.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you.
No, you're reading ahead, huh?
There.
There it is, second one, Brown County zoning ordinances.
You want me to?
Click on it, see if you can bring it up. I think you have to hit the control and then,
Open.
Open.
Hold down the control button.
It was
Should you be
malware.
able to hit open?
there we go. Here's the kind of districts in the establishments. I won't explain them, but you look at the different districts that we have. The Lake Residential District always caught me by surprise. That was a new one for me when I was sitting here on that meeting. Forest Reserve, different things. Fringe districts, we talked about that one. That's another contentious one. The R2s. And go on. Those are districts. And then if you go on, keep going. Industrial districts, different explanations, boundaries. Yeah, go to the matrix. Yep. Ooh, there it is. That's the money shot. I think when you have these meetings out there and you tell people, okay, if you're in an R2, here's all the things that can go in your area. Okay?
I don't want to speak out of turn, I'm sorry.
No,
So, but I think that we're getting too far into the zoning ordinance stuff, and we're putting kind of the cart before the horse on that one. We can do that in tandem and let people know what their zoning is, but the comp plan is really, I think we've all decided comp plan first, zoning
I
ordinance.
think what
as
he's
they
saying
said.
is he wants this in the comp plan so that it's right up front, so people understand this is what can be done.
Or an appendix. If I'm in an R2, I'd like to know, if I bought property in an R2 and I'm in a R2 in the Lake District, I would like to know
Right, but
what can go in there.
But what you're talking about is community facing. What Kayla was referencing is, what do you want in the comprehensive plan? You don't want, if you want a statement in the comp plan saying, build a website that clearly defines zoning boundaries to community residents, then we could do that, but you want it all laid out in the comp plan? Or
No, I don't want this in the comp plan, but when you talk about, when you want people to know what their zoning is and what district they're in, I need to have an explanation of what a district is. And then what's allowed within that district, what the allowable uses, so they know. That's it.
That's there. The public has access to that. It's called our development code. I mean, it's there. They can go
Well, how
to
many-
that, they can ask that question, I mean, they can research that on their own. And that right there is public knowledge, if they want it to be. Now, I think what you're saying is, how deep and how far do you have to dig to find that information? Of course, that applies to just about anything in government.
Right.
So can I, let me spend 30 seconds. The point about this is a
Calm down.
calm down, okay. The thing about it is it is as well as an opportunity to receive information as well as to convey information, okay? And what we have in this situation is a challenge with regards to people not understanding, because that's when we come to appeals and things of that nature and asking for rezoning, people sitting there saying, oh, I didn't know that, right? So I guess my comment is I see value in adding some approach to, we're going to not only just take this as an information gathering session to say, what are you looking for? But if you go and ask that question and say, well, what are you looking for in one? If they don't know what the hell's there
Right.
and what they can and can't do, then how are they ever going to come about with what understanding they would need in order to say, this is where I think we should be going?
But
Well,
again,
in that case, Kevin, I mean, I guess, what would you consider to be the best venue to
Seek
provide that information?
So I think the venue, so I went to both of the sessions for the comprehensive plan there. And again, and I know there's a struggle. This thing I see in this county is we want, as a local government entity and the various boards and things of that nature, engagement from the community, but we've not hit some level of, it's not working for us, because you get a very small facet of people coming in saying, here's what I want.
it's because the refs shouldn't affect the outcome of the play. Daily citizens that aren't civically involved don't care
Yeah.
until it.
Until it affects their area.
Right.
And then they're here for
So
it.
that's, again, I don't want to mission creep. I want to take full advantage of the time we have with you guys. As far as what you want in the comp plan, like, I am 100% on board with what you're saying. I think there's community engagement, community education, other routes that we can do to educate people or to make that information available. But as far as what we want listed in the comprehensive plan, until we hear from the public, I don't know what else. I mean, we all know that the previous attempt was a less than comprehensive plan. We said that from the beginning. Is it done, or are there things that we can add to what we have already with input from the public? But what specifically areas are we looking to improve with this document? You know what I mean? Like, do we need to start over the new document, or do we have a list of things, hey, this and this need changed. This I would have liked more of this. So how do we do that? These are all fine. Like, as far as the body of the document, that's why we're here, is what's going into the document, chapter or,
Understood.
you know what I mean, graphs, whatever.
So my take on this is a definitive understanding, because like we said, we are a community where we have a populace of people that are heavily reliant on services, correct? So I would think that if we were going through the comprehensive plan, we would have clear vision or a clear idea of what that looks like. How are we structuring it? And let's use Jesse Clark as the example on that, right? He's a service business. We didn't necessarily, and again, it's a blend between a plan of saying, where are we going to structure these kind of entities in, like Bartholomew County, saying, we're going to identify this as an area of opportunity for development for small business entities, right? Or we're going to go through and put granularity, or they would like to see, and I'm sure if you ask him now, he'd like to see granularity on what general business looks like. Those are the kinds of things that I'm
By
saying.
designating zones?
Well,
It
I
could
think
be
more-
a zoning, it could be a zoning, it could be a
No, no,
township. I mean,
difference between zones and zoning. Zones would be like they talked about the heritage use district along the corridors.
right,
That's great, right?
Mhm.
That's the highways. It doesn't take a rocket science to look at our county and go, well, that could use some more. We know we can do it there. That was self-explanatory. As far as what else is available, maybe we need to relook at what we allow. Because like right now, with that particular, it's GB or nothing.
industrial.
Yeah,
right?
We need more zoning.
So is there another classification of small business or whatever that term is? I'm not just saying that because I own a small business.
Right.
I'm one guy. I'm not worried about, you know what I mean? Any type. I don't have employees and things like that. But if
Well,
I
I
wanted
think
to
so.
have, it would be nice to be able to go to the county website and go, what can I do in my zoning? Right? Like what, is there a classification for under 10 employees? Is there a classification for? We can do that. We can make that happen. I'm trying to stay like calm and not repeat the same thing over and over again, but we argued more about using out-of-state or out-of-county pictures when we passed our comp plan than some of what was in it, right? Like it just,
It didn't demonstrate the community that we were working with.
right.
It did not do that.
As well as, I mean, it wasn't,
And,
So,
but the other part is that, you know, how do you define something? Do you define it in 5 words? Do you define it in 50 or 500? You get to 500, nobody wants to read through that. You got to get that down to, you know, short, sweet, and to the point as you go through the document with the correct information that it needs to have, but also with, you know, somebody, 8th grade reader, you know, what is the term now? I don't know what it is school-wise, but, you know, with a reading level that when somebody looks at this, they can understand it. It doesn't have the additional, what I tell my patient, highfalutin words in there that just confuse the whole dynamic. And so, you know, it needs to be a document that you can read the paragraph or read the section and go, okay, now I understand that, now I'll have to figure out what I have to do next, kind of a thing. So finding that middle road is not that easy.
and I would rather you guys have to worry about finding businesses to move in or, you know what I mean, other ways to make revenue for our county than having to deal with, you know what I mean, all the other crap that you have to deal with. So having zones and a clear picture of, hey, we have targeted this area or this whatever, this is our bread and butter, this is what we're looking for, how do we get more of that? And allow for the other things that people think we are.
Okay, let me try to address that, and Kayla, address your point. I think the comprehensive plan ought to drive that. It ought to drive that. What do you want, and what do you don't want, and where do you want it or don't want it? And I'll get to that on the second handout that comes out. All right, next, I just got the historical, cultural, and economic context. It gets back to the story. We talked about scenic beauty, natural terrain. Think about the comprehensive plan. Who you're marketing that to. You're describing your story and you're trying to attract people. And you're trying to attract some businesses. So what do you want to attract and where do you want to put it and what do you want to allow and where do you want to have it? All those kinds of things I'd like to know. The Regional Opportunity Initiative, I mentioned that. It's focused on Nashville and tourism. That's just not it's nice to have, but it doesn't pay our bills here. It's the residents that are attracted by the recreational opportunities that are paying our bills. So it's quality of life is a huge thing.
Now, let me,
yeah.
just real quick, I have to intervene.
Okay.
It is our residents who live here, not just for the recreation, but for the ability to have some room to live self-sustained or more so self-sustained than you would in town or in the city.
And
So
we-
there is a very hard scrabble kind of route from, and we can't forget that, like, yeah, the bike trails are nice, and yeah, like some of the stuff, I love it too. I'm one that, like, enjoys that stuff, but that's not everybody. Like, some people just want to be left alone. I just want.
See, and the other one is, what came up in the Jesse Clark thing, the other thing is the discussion offline, so to speak, is there's a lot of businesses throughout the county where somebody's in the middle of nowhere that has a business and maybe have 2 or 3 employees that show up during their business and nobody says anything. Because they're in the middle of nowhere, they're not having an impact on anywhere. But yet you also have issues where somebody's running a business and bringing employees to pick up vehicles on a narrow road and the neighbors are up in arms because of the danger of that traffic. So you have that. And the Jesse Clark thing came up. I mean, you looked at those discussions, you had residents saying, hey, I want to live in a residential area. I didn't move to be down here in a commercial area. And yet he's saying, gee whiz, I've got a business down here. I'd like to keep it down here. Is there some middle ground there? But then and that's okay. And I think our guidance is the general business along state highways only because of the access on the roads. Our roads are extremely narrow in this county. And so I think that supports the general business on the county highways. So anyway, if you're looking at general business, that's nice to put that kind of stuff out there. And then again, yeah, so schools, I think I mentioned that one. One of those things, schools are over half of our property tax. I think last I looked at my property tax, it's like 56% of my property tax are going to schools. And yet we have a decline in enrollment, but yet we got the referendum. Now we're getting construction projects at the school. So when you're attracting people to a community, you're selling, marketing this community, you're also marketing schools.
Let me give some clarification. Yes, the student population is going down. The referendum is strictly for teachers, wages and benefits. So we can keep them here, okay? That's added to what we get from the state, which is, not a whole lot, not as much as it should be. And we are required to do so much certain testing and things like that the charter schools and other schools are not. The tax rate for schools has stayed the same. The house value, my house was $100,000 when I built it. My house now values at $410,000. Okay, of course my taxes went up. However, they went up only because of the fact that it's 63 cents per $100 per $100. Okay, well, I went from 100,000 to. That's where the increase of the school tax. We did not change it. We have kept it level, and I have been on the board since 2007. Okay. We have not had a time, except once when it dipped down because of issues and stuff, but we've had it kept along level, and the purpose of it has been to put air conditioning in buildings because they didn't have it. The boilers, replacement of hard things, replace roof, all kinds of things and stuff. We're not. So yes, the taxes have gone up, but the tax rate has not gone up.
Yeah. Well, Carol, my point here would be the schools are an asset. And so when people are looking to move here, it's like, well, what are the capabilities of the schools, or what are my options? And so we have a lot of the homeschool deal. You got a lot of people going, or some kids going to the out-of-district school. So again, it's telling the picture within your comp plan. If you're going to attract a certain demographic, you need to share, here's our asset, here's what's available.
We need to have property sites available for younger families that also include good internet, so that that person may be able to work from home. I mean, I've got a couple patients I see now here in the county. The family members working from home while they're taking care of the senior citizen. So so that gives us advantage of being in this county. So
Yeah. Well, broadband was a significant asset for the county, just game changer. It certainly was, because now we're attracting people down here that can work from home and live in a rural area. The next one, I'll just briefly go through that. You got home costs and affordability. I can show you the numbers. Affordable, I always love when they throw that out. HUD defines affordable as no more than 30% of your income going to your housing expenses. That's affordable. And that's a whole different animal. I think we've been admiring that problem, and the state has, the nation has, on affordable homes at the starter home level. Whatever, that's a that's another issue. Economic base, I kind of reinforced that, new, and then there's a link out there. I had another interpretation of a plan going forward. And then I want to get more to the culture of the county, the more aesthetics. You got small communities in Brown County. I always like it when you come across these articles. They had 10 secluded towns lost in the hills of Indiana's rugged Brown County region, and they identified the different areas. That's part of the culture of the county that I think a lot of people, when they move down, may not know. May not know Elkinsville, may not know that we have a mountain here, Brownie Mountain, right? You know, or Stonehenge, isn't that what they call it? Just unique things, or Stonehead, you know, all the different arts, you know, the mining that went on, the culture that went on, the graving, the engraving of the headstones, you know, all that kind of thing. It's all part that attracts people to our county that you don't really see anywhere. Jobs, let me hit the numbers here. 3,840 jobs total in the county, and I think I got that off your report. Tourism related was 1,000. Non-tourism related, 2814. That's everybody else that's working. But yet, when you look at the total tax returns filed, the 7,000 tax returns. So you got a total of 3,840 people working, but 7,302 people filing tax returns, taxable income. So it just reinforces that, hey, we're a resident community, retirement community. People with businesses and maybe work outside the county too, but they'd be counted as far as that, but not exactly having a job here. So I'm curious on some of these numbers. Again, back to wages. Brown County, again, 77% of the earnings realized by the local residents originate elsewhere. And another one by Morton Markets, and I'd have to dig into the numbers. When he looked at all the wages throughout the state of Indiana, it's pretty interesting. He said, Brown County is among the 8 in the high wage increase and high job growth corner. So that was pretty interesting when you look at his report. But you got to kind of look at the numbers that determine the percentages. So if you had just a small amount of numbers, the percentages may be skewed. But anyway, I thought that's pretty interesting when I read his report. Economic development, it's another constraint here, I guess, and maybe you guys know. The only time I recall the county giving a tax abatement was when the Little Opry owners of the old Little Opry property were going to rebuild. And the county gave a $400,000 tax abatement so they could afford a wastewater treatment, some kind of system. That's the only time I recall the county kind of officially saying, hey, we'll give you an abatement to help you out on this development. We did do an economic development area that you need for a TIF, tax increment financing in Helensburgh, but we didn't do a TIF. We did the economic development area, but that took care of itself. Private sector got involved. I mean, I think the pools bought 3 of the homes and tore them down. Other people either tore them down or rebuilt. And then Habitat for Humanity came in. So if you look at Helensburgh, they kind of, private sector took over and redeveloped that particular area. And now you got the steamery out there looking for, opportunities as well. So again, we didn't even have a TIF. We don't have a TIF in the county. Don't think we ever did. I think Nashville.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
We do have an abatement in the county.
We do, which one?
It's at Hawthorne.
Okay, Hawthorne. I thought that was the
We
town.
also-
It's a town.
It's town, but we still have.
The county gave an abatement?
We manage.
Town did.
Okay, good.
We have a TIF on the new Woods Lane, or not Woods Lane, what is it called up there by Palmer's old house?
That's Nashville. I think all of Nashville is TIFed.
There are 3 tips in Nashville.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can go out and look and Google it, and I think they've got 400 properties in the database that have a TIF on it.
It's all in the town.
But that's not the county. I mean, the county kind of sells itself. When you look at Hartruth Hills, they didn't ask for anything.
No.
I remember asking them they didn't ask for a dime. Hartruth Hills and Big Woods didn't ask for anything. They did this. We attract those kind of businesses here because we've got the tourism that attracts more visitors. And the key on the more visitors, which is interesting, it gets back to that stoplight outside the state park. We had 3 stoplights in the county. It was always tried to get a stoplight down there, but the volume of traffic NDOT would never put a light in there because the traffic didn't support it. But then that changed last year. So now we have the 4th stoplight, yeah.
And the reason we had the 4th stoplight, because they wanted to put in a circle.
A circle, okay.
A roundabout. Well, I'm sorry, I'm from the east, they're circles. And they want to put a roundabout in it, and there was a thing on the internet, and I started letting people all know that we don't want a roundabout, because that traffic would not have worked traffic-wise in October and everything else.
Can you imagine the
And,
campers on
and
that thing?
any high events and stuff. So that's how come we ended up with a light instead of a circle at the north entrance.
Well, that's subject to change. I met those people out there.
I was gonna say, I saw him out there that morning.
That's supposedly a temporary.
That, not the lighting?
That's temporary.
Yes.
We was 5 years ahead on that than what they really was planning on doing. I think there was a couple accidents or something out there. But, you know, the most permanent thing is something temporary, so we'll have to see what they do.
Carol, I see you got there with your sign, no roundabout, right? Or no circles.
No circles, no
All
roundabout.
right.
I will say, I was driving through Hamilton County last week, going north, whatever that airport is, that road that goes north of the little regional airport, and they've put in roundabouts.
Alsonville Road, probably.
And no, it's Mount Comfort Road.
Okay.
There has been, like, now, they were able to say, this section is gonna go to housing. Please, developers, come, we'll court you to come here, but they've put in roundabouts every block
Yes, they
on
have.
what was a country road,
Yes, they have.
and I would say it's probably just, it's faster. It's too fast. Like, at least before, when there was a stop sign, everything, it made, like, now it's just go. Like, if you wanna pull out the traffic, you gotta go.
I think we're getting off on some.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are. Please.
Okay. And then I'll hit it, guys, at infrastructure considerations, I throw all this in, but when you start laying development and comprehensive plan, it'd be nice to know where all the power, all the infrastructure is. Public safety, medical services, kind of explain. I guess one of the constraints we're dealing with now is we don't have a hospital. We don't have urgent care. Our equivalent is the ambulances. And so what's interesting is we're getting more and more people down that think that we ought to have the same amenities as Marion County when it comes to medical services. And it's like, well, that's a different kind of discussion. And typically what I've learned here is that typically when people move down, they understand the constraints on the medical service that are available. And then when they get to the point, they age at the point where they need medical services, they're out of here. They go somewhere else, they flip their house, new generation buys a house, and that's been going on for 2 or 3 generations. So you might talk to a realtor to confirm if we're still doing that, but that's kind of what happens. So medical services is kind of constraint. Fire and emergency services is kind of constraint on the volunteers. Roads and bridges, I kind of mentioned, we just had a bridge inspection for the 84 bridges. Recreation trails, big deal. I've got, man, the number of trails and nonprofits. And people always say, gee whiz, most of our land you can't tax, but by golly, that's what attracts people here. You know, so you can say, well, 50%, 60%, 70%, and then people can put their land in classified forests and they're paying less in property tax. So maybe it's closer to 70%, but that's what attracts people down here. That's what attracts folks to move down here along with the recreation opportunities and the amenities that tourism offers. So I always kind of laugh when people say that. It's like, buddy, that's what brings people here. That's what we ought to market. Sewer service, I kind of mentioned it. Interesting, the Bean Blossom project is on hold indefinitely, but Lake Lemon got funding, and then Helmsburg got funding to improve their plant. Just for their customers, given the current demand, but they can expand to include hundreds of more customers when that develops.
So you said Lake Lemon's approved?
Yes, 3.7 million. Aaron Houchins got federal money to develop plans.
So
engineering
from
plans.
Lake Lemon to Helmsburg?
Yeah, that's Helmsburg
Wow.
is the regional service center for wastewater.
But yet Bean Blossom didn't.
They're on hold. I talked to the state revolving fund. They were looking for, they asked to see 85% new customer support, and they didn't get that, and that's what they base their funding on. And I think there's cost issues as well. So the Bryan County Regional Sewer District just kind of put that on hold, suspended that, and they're shipped into Lake Lemon. So that's good. There's probably, that's a development opportunity out that way. Half of it splits into Monroe County. Their commissioners are more than more than interested in getting sewers as well, so that could be a
Thank you.
development opportunity. Then the broadband, I kind of mentioned on that one, water service, again, another issue. I'll just go through this real quick. On this next one, the decision criteria, you had to be nice, and I think when I presented, if you recall, I went through the decision criteria on the Tilton rezone. Remember that one? And it's like, well, we have these general goals, but then, how do we define, an approval for a project? What is that criteria? How would we rate it and score it? And so you can go to the links on that one. I kind of presented that last year. Again, IC 3674603, again, guidance. And then let me go to attachment B, and I'll just go through 2 or 3 and call it a wrap. What we did is we broke things down by township. And what's unique when we're saying the comprehensive plan is guide and development, growth and development, say, for the entire county. But the county is unique. Different areas may have different needs, and you're not going to know what that is until you go out and talk to people. So if you look at Jackson Township, when you look at the character, you look at the history, look at what you have there. Helensburgh, Bean Blossom, Fruitdale, Needmore, Trevlack, all these are unique kind of areas. And then, of course, you've got Bill Monroe. And then I've identified the census tracts and the LMI, tells you what that income level is in those areas, Bean Blossom, Helensburgh. You go to Hamlin Township, Gatesville, Cordery, Sweetwater, Conservancy, Mount T State Forest, Western Edge, Camp Atterbury. Not a whole lot there. But there's 4 census tracts, and they're all pretty low LMI, which means high income. And again, next to the lakes is probably one of the highest income townships that we have. Washington Township's probably the most diverse. You got Nashville. And what's nice is we need to incorporate Nashville just a page or 2 into the county comprehensive plan, because they've got their plan. But for them to grow, if they linked sewer service to annexation, and they have a master wastewater strategic plan that goes all the way up to, it goes to Belmont, goes to, Annandale, Town Hill, Sam's Hill. I think they could even provide support for Bean Blossom, but Bean Blossom is working just fine, thank you very much, when it comes to the regional sewer district.
One town
One
in the whole
town.
county, like, continue to just advance until Nashville touches.
Well, Nashville's done growing.
Right, but you just said an annex plan that grew with the sewer.
Right, if you wanted to, if for instance, I live on Town Hill, right side out of town, or you can look at Annandale. If that area wants sewer service, and it has to be continuous, then Nashville's requiring that they volunteer to be annexed. That's probably going to be a constraint for anybody who wants sewer service from Nashville, but maybe not. So for them to grow, people have to voluntarily agree to an annexation. And so there are rules for annexation. So we need to just include that in our comp plan, saying, okay, if you're moving to these areas within 2 miles of Nashville and you're looking for sewer service someday, you may want to volunteer to be annexed, and this is a summary of what that requires. Because there's a lot of intricacies when it comes to that annexation for Nashville. Has to be continuous, has to be volunteer. There's a whole new state code written on that one.
Campfire, firearms.
Yeah, but see, that's part of in our comp plan, that needs to be covered. Here's Nashville, here's a link to their plan, and oh, by the way, here's their constraints on if you want sewer service to be expanded or whatever. So, nice thing to have. So Washington Township, most diverse, you got Nashville, but then you got, State Park, Belmont. Van Buren Township, different story there. Pikes Peak, Stonehead, Story, Elkinsville, Brownie Mountain. And if you recall, I don't know if you guys remember the Combs Road issue, packed the room, not only local residents, but state residents, regional residents, forest people, parks people. Leave us alone was the big story there. And it's a pristine area, don't touch it. We've been through this, and it's not broke, don't fix it. And, Pumpkin Ridge is that way too, on the same way. Those folks leave us alone. And I think Van Buren's the same way. Leave us alone, we like it just fine. But when you look at all these areas, and then you look at the zoning, you look at what can go in those zonings, you just make people aware. So when you have these different, again, the idea is to have these community engagement meetings at these townships, like Van Buren Volunteer Fire Department, for instance, bring these people in and say, hey, here's the map, here's the zoning, here's what can go in the zoning, is that okay? Do you want more or less? What do you want developed? So if you want these districts, you want growth, what? Tell me what you want, because we're gonna see that, right? Comes to you for zoning, it comes to us for approval. I want to give people as much information as possible. I want to get as much input as possible, and tell me what you want and don't want in your particular areas. And that you do by getting out there and asking people.
One of the biggest responses we got to that question previously on our Survey Monkey, one of the most common answers was nothing. Leave us alone. Like, why are you talking about this? Shh. We don't need more.
So is there geographic representation for that, or was that countywide, or where was it?
The Survey Monkey was countywide.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, but for the results, could you geographically point and say that's prevalent in the southern part of the county in Van Buren, or was
Yeah,
that
so-
typically?
So we do have maps that have the data, basically pins where people live that attended, and then also where do you think would be a good opportunity for growth? Where do you think that there was a number of criteria that people, they put where they lived and then what they saw for other areas as well. Like, it was done really well, like that one engagement session, so to speak.
That starts on 121 of the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
I mean, I understand it, but I was just trying to understand from the data standpoint, was there a prevalence in that attitude?
would geographical data help you make a decision in this county at all?
So let me give you a perspective from my side of that. If you look at if you go back and look at that township drawing that there, where is there a heavy population of constituents? Typically in Hamlin and Jackson Township.
A heavy
Right.
population of constituents.
Meaning, if you're looking at, spitting distance of neighbor, if I want to put it that way. Neighbors and
Higher
people
populated areas?
living, meaning living closer together,
Okay,
right? Let me phrase it that way,
sure.
right? So where I live in Hamlin Township, I live not far outside of Spruceville, but you have a lot of people that are living closer together. Bean Blossom's kind of that area, you have open spaces in there. Not a lot of it, but if you go and look at the roads, you look at the houses, you drive down Spruceville Road, you see them side by side by side. You don't see, like you do down in Van Buren, these 20,
Large
50,
tracts.
60-acre fields or areas that are wide open, and it's a lot further distance between neighbors, right? On
Floodplain,
Christianburg
too.
It's
It's all floodplain.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think from a geography standpoint, I think that is one of the things we may have missed. We may be missing and saying, again, Bean Blossom to me is a missed opportunity. I mean, to me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Helmsburg is huge. High-speed internet, freaking
Sewer,
sewer,
power,
like,
close
banger.
to Monroe.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that again, so a geography standpoint is, like I said, I think one of the reasons why the original 2000 plan was saying, well, we want that development to occur along state roads, because again, go on some of the roads that we've been on and having traveled those things, they are not conducive to carrying large amounts of traffic, right? So I want to kind of see how those geographic, I mean, because somebody in Cordray is going to want something completely different than somebody in Bean Blossom.
Sure.
In my idea, right?
Sure.
And I don't know that we captured that.
No, 100, I mean, we got 1%. What was our percentage?
Yeah.
Kyle remembered it.
Yeah,
It was 1%.
we
I
all
think
say
that's
we were
what-
disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we all, I don't disagree. That's the thing. It's just let us know, like, how do we, instead of just waiting, what can we do to make progress to go
And I
forward?
think the thing for me is, I think it's a different time to stepping into this, because we are in the commissioner's office trying to make points and move things forward where we're being more strategic about where we're headed with these things, right? So that we're not being so tactical, all right?
Basically, when you solidify the heights here, where should new development occur in Brown County?
And it was along state highways.
And it was long state highways. There's only one right there, 1, 2, 3 in Hamlin.
But so,
You know, everything,
and I understand, like, we're back to the same, geographically, that's how you would designate it.
right.
How do we overcome, we know our geography is both a challenge and a blessing. How do we overcome looking at it, that's why we talked about a new zoning instead of GB. Maybe there's
Needs to be
less
further
than
broke
GB, but maybe you're allowed to do a little more, maybe,
And who would want that? What areas would want that?
right, I mean,
So again, so let me just try, again, so I travel up 135 going north and I look at Fruitdale,
okay,
right? Another perfect example. There were countless people that made efforts to build buildings there because they were going to turn it into some small business strip mall. You got the
Right.
old gas station, you've got another old gas station, you got another small strip area and those things. So those are all things that were done, but I think it was because people were trying to go it alone and didn't have a clear understanding of what their challenges were, right?
sure.
That's what I'm kind of expecting to come from the comprehensive plan as well, as saying, well, I think that's, again, like you're saying, it is right. It's occurring along state roads. To me, that makes sense,
Right,
right?
And that's where your development should occur.
right.
I'm gonna guess
I mean,
those
if you wanna
businesses
retain
didn't make it to
natural-
the septic,
natural
if I had to
history.
guess.
I would say that
I mean,
septic
it
is a
ain't,
huge
I mean, that's a
limitation.
no-brainer. I didn't even have to study it.
Yeah, all the way
So anybody
up
doing their
to-
due diligence would have known that
Yeah.
from the first step. So it's not that we don't want it to happen. It's, for our plans, it's where we want it, but
And that's why, like, it gave me pause, and I don't know if I should say anything on the record or not, but with Nashville's plan to annex anybody that joins on, does it become a race for Helmsburg and Bean Blossom and Gnawbone to all say, well, we're gonna annex anybody that joins us too? Because nothing will get built. Like, nothing will grow.
I don't
You see
think
what I
so.
mean, though? Like,
Gnawbone-
when you said that, something kind of went, wait a minute, what?
I've worked with Helmsburg for quite a while, and same way Gnawbone, they didn't force anybody to go on sewers, and they still don't.
No, I'm not saying forcing someone to, but
But you're saying if I want the service, you must.
yes.
I don't know if that's exactly true, because
I don't think the sentiment is there.
the
someone
sentiment
was
may not be,
told
but it kind of,
they did have to hook on.
Who's told?
Well, I don't want to get into names, but somebody was told they had to hook on.
and they had to in Gnawbone when they put the Gnawbone sewer in.
That's what I'm
My-
talking
My
about.
best friend's dad had to do it, and he bitched. He just spent
Yeah.
$8,000 on a new septic.
Oh my gosh.
I just spent $8,000, well, they want a new one for it.
Are you talking about the Barrett law?
Let me
Yeah,
just
anyway.
keep going. How I see this, okay, it's really somewhat simple. If you don't have the utilities to support it, it's probably not going to happen. And if you're going to go out in the area that, you're going to need a septic, that's the way it's always been. If you don't, if you're not close to it, and Nashville might be where they take it out and go out of the county.
Well, that's
So,
one reason we have such a high percentage of failure rates in this county.
What rates?
Failure
High
rates.
percentage failure
Yeah,
rates
yeah.
in this county.
Is there any data on that?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
on the old pipe and gravel systems.
There's all kind of data on that with the health department. Very high. Geologically, soil-wise, Brown County's got some severe restrictions.
Yeah,
In
that's-
terms of-
we have a
Clay.
different conversation on that one. We'll have a different conversation on that one.
Well,
I'll
I'm
reach
just-
out and see
I'm
what
just-
they're talking about.
Segue into what he was saying, so.
It's gotten expensive to
it-
put a
it-
septic in.
Responsible development, if you don't work and go, it should follow your infrastructure in terms of servicing those areas. Water, sewage.
Yeah.
Don't grow those areas if that's impossible.
Right, but if you want to grow Bean Blossom, put sewer, water, and broadband, and make sure it's got that, and get out of the way and let the
It'll
private
go.
sector. Yeah, it'll
Well,
go.
that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But those services really should, because what we've done in the past, what a lot of communities made mistakes in the past is, we've allowed development, we've allowed homes to be built, housing conditions to be built, and the infrastructure there to service it was not there.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Fruitdale, Bean Blossom,
Yes.
they're all business properties and they're tiny. So
Exactly.
you can't put a septic system on the Fruitdale Market property.
You
That's
can't
why
put
we
a
don't
septic
have-
system for the Gatesville store that's tied to the house.
Yeah.
Like.
That's why we don't have a Fruitdale Market anymore.
So that's the responsible way to do it, in my opinion. I know it's not easy to do, because you're turning down development, you're turning down construction, you're telling developers, no, we're not going to issue these permits to you, because those lifelines are not there.
Well, the truth is the developers aren't asking because those lifelines aren't there, period.
Well, but I mean, we've allowed them in the past.
But I'm saying,
Here.
I've got, I know of someone who right now needs 800 doors in their county.
What?
They need 800 new doors in their county because the factory that came to town, everybody that works there is driving to the county next door to live because that's where the housing is. So they're actually seeking developers to put housing so that they can keep the income tax in the county instead of it leaving every night. So when
Boston Scientific?
Well, when we're, I'm sure that's another one, like there's.
It is.
It's a problem across the state,
What
so,
did he say?
Boston Scientific.
a community.
Spencer,
But the problem is, when you say developers don't need any help, we don't need to, yeah, we do, by putting infrastructure, so they'll come build
Well,
stuff.
who
Like,
pays for it? There's the problem. Who pays for it?
Right. Wouldn't the tax base and growth from that? Like, if you look at, if we had sewer
Kind of after the
between,
fact, though, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
chicken or the
That's
egg.
being purely, that's being very speculative.
Yeah.
You've got to have that money up front. So that's always been the problem. The cheap thing to do was to go with septic systems, even though they're not so cheap today. But it was the only other option.
Right.
And we know the failure rate, and we know what's happening with our water quality here in the county. Not just Brown County, but
Right.
throughout the
All.
entire state. Now, I got off on a tangent there, so,
Well, guys, I'll just summarize,
So again, yeah.
I think, if I may say something here, I think Tim, and I'm assuming all three of the commissioners are on board on this.
Don't assume anything.
Okay. That's good advice. I have no idea where the hell I was going with that.
It was one of your $3 words. It's about due for your $3 word.
$3 words.
Project
I
tape.
think you may be asking a little too much and expecting a little too much from a comprehensive plan. When I see words in here like this, critically, the plan lacks the granular, place-based specificity. That's getting awfully specific on a comprehensive plan.
That was REA. I admired the verbiage.
Did you
I'm sorry,
copy and
what was it?
paste?
That was the contractor.
Okay, well, but that's really not what your comprehensive plan is about, in my opinion.
Well, okay.
I mean, you can number it to death, you can squeeze it down to being too much, it's no longer comprehensive. It's a direction, it's a roadmap, basically for people in the planning commission, commissioners, your county government, in how they would like to see things go. How they'd like to see, in what direction things could be developed. So I think what we've talked about, and if I can, Tim, where did all this information come from here that we're looking at this evening? Did you compile this yourself, or did this come out of some?
I've got links to all that
Okay, so
information.
this is all, you've compiled this
For
all
years,
yourself?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
For years.
Can I,
Well, as I tell you what, I just conclude, here's the option going forward. Is I had REA develop an RP, they're the folks that did the National Comprehensive Plan. I said, hey, does it make sense to do what we're looking for, to do it by communities, by areas? And they thought that would work for us.
Geographical areas?
Geographical areas and townships. And so they outlined an RP for me and said, hey, here's what we can do to prototype this kind of meeting in the different townships. So you validate, and basically what you do is, say if you did that at Van Buren, you had your several meetings. For one, you may confirm the information you already have in the comp plan, so you could use that information. You also might get new information. And so based on those meetings, based on the input, based on the feedback, based on the delta between what folks are saying and what we have in the comp plan, we can make a change. And at that point, you've got a proof of concept model that we can take to other townships and have other meetings.
Are you talking
That's the
about-
plan.
Are you
That's
talking
the
about a
idea.
comprehensive plan for each township?
No.
information gathering for each township. He's saying an event.
You're just talking about it's clear to me.
Public meetings.
What you're not happy with this is the fact that you made it very clear in here, is that you don't think the public had enough opportunity to make comments. Am I correct on that?
To
Okay.
be engaged in the plan, right?
Right. So
That
what
may
you would like
affect
to
their
see-
area.
What you would like to see basically is more of a geographical concentration of input
What
based
for
on
lack of
township
trying
to
now?
township.
Correct, more community engagement by
Okay.
township.
I worked the
Okay.
fair, no, but the polls,
Me too.
yeah. So, but on that point, I understand how do you recommend having the meeting? Do we do it like we did before and just have multiples? Or do we do social media, attack and try and get it out there that way? We talked before, it's like, you want to get people to respond, just put one question in there about, do you think you should be allowed to have chickens? Or shoot guns in your yard? People will respond. Like,
Back
we
to
can
the
get
question.
numbers. That's not what we're trying to do. That's not the spirit of what we're trying to do.
I have a draft of a request for proposal from REA on how they suggest we could do these community engagement sessions at a township, and I can forward it to you.
REA.
REA, that's
I have a- could you
They're
give-
another Veritas,
Yeah.
they're another,
no, yeah, they're the ones that did the comprehensive plan for Nashville.
So this is another consulting.
That's
company.
Rundell Ernstberger Associates, Cynthia.
So this is
Stahl.
another consulting company that does.
That specializes in comprehensive planning.
But they're not gonna be they haven't said they're gonna be our consultant.
we
Well,
haven't
consultant.
asked them to be our.
Haven't asked them.
They didn't want
Yes,
to be
I have.
involved in
Before,
both.
Yes,
so they didn't apply when we did the,
they were not interested because they were already doing the town's plan.
Correct,
Now we're also doing the town's development plan.
yeah.
The UDO,
Yep.
yes.
Mr. Schillings?
Yes, sir.
You are Mr. Schillings.
Yes,
It's been a while. You've been here a long time, haven't you?
I have.
How many years do you think it's been?
I started in '94.
Okay, 94. You were here then. Do you remember the master plan back when? This reads a whole lot like the part that I've read so far. It reads a whole lot like what the master plan was a long time ago. Bicycle paths, they talked about the bicycle paths going through people's front yards, the trail thing. But the infrastructure, we haven't really grown that much since that point in time. And I know Mr. Wagler was involved. Did you do 50-some meetings or something?
A lot of meetings.
Yeah, he's got a lot of data in that head. He'd be somebody to talk to remember the process back then, so we don't go over that again, because I tell you right now, in this, it's gonna be controversial. So, and if you don't have the infrastructure to begin with, you kind of got problems. And we can't hardly get the money to do much of anything
Back to that I
already.
word,
Huh?
it's back to that I word,
What's that?
the infrastructure.
Yeah,
That's
so.
changed.
Well,
So
that was
if you're
kind
gonna
of
do
my
anything,
plan.
you're gonna have to be close to the infrastructure. Unless it's really small or somebody's willing to fit that bill.
Yeah, I mean, I guess though, the comprehensive plan is designed to guide the community in where to develop that infrastructure. And so that's when it's this kind of a wish list. This is what we would like to happen with our community. And if opportunities to expand your sewer comes up, you can say, hey, this is the direction we want to go because it's a great area for business development or residential development or so forth. So, yeah, I guess my notion of a comprehensive plan is something that's pretty general and just as a guidance document and not necessarily a land use instrument, but just a sort of a wish list for the community.
here's the vision of what we,
But it will be determined, I mean, Mr. Clark was right on saying, how many on your property, what is your property zoned for? Okay, if you got a large section of property that says it's agriculture, that's probably off the table. And
right,
if it's in floodplain, it's off the table. So you moved a lot farther down the road by identifying it.
yeah.
And then if it's, right now, if it's not close to something possible like Gnawbone or Helmsburg,
So
lakes,
what
you're in
communication
trouble.
as a county government, okay, as mom and dad of our county family, how do you disseminate that information? How are you currently reaching the citizens of Brown County about their property now? Is it the assessor's office? What's being mailed to every citizen from the county?
Tax bill.
Tax bill,
There's one, okay,
well,
so,
there's 2 a year.
okay, I'm just saying, there's one place, can we put an insert in with the tax bill that says, hey, by the way, here's what you're zoned for, or this is the zoning meeting coming up, or whatever. I know I just got my tax bill, so it wouldn't work until
Well, you
next.
got-
I thought we passed an ordinance that it had to be revisited every
I
2
don't know
years or
about
5 years.
But I think there's a,
There's a state statute, if I
There's-
remember right.
There's the state statute.
Then I would
Yeah.
consider saying, you need to focus on what you can do today,
Right,
not visualize it so far out.
right. I agree with that. How can we help? What can we have the most impact today? What are the biggest issues facing our county now?
Today.
And that was part of the survey, part of the community engagement was, where do you feel like we need the most attention?
so you're talking about giving them that information ahead of time so they can be thinking about that for any possible future changes or modifications to their land. Is that what you- Because right now, they can find that information by coming in or calling.
What I am doing is looking at the list that I just got from my boss that says, this is what I want to the comp plan, that this needs to be accomplished so that we can do the comp plan. I want people to know what their zoning is and what it means. We need it clear, and we need everybody to be able to look up what it is. Okay, how do we make that happen? And begin to get people engaged so that when we say we're having a community meeting about the comp plan, people show up and get more engaged.
That's what I mean. You're providing the information. ahead of
Yes.
time.
You're
So
prepping.
they can consider, well, here's my zoning now. and
Right.
We've been talking about doing this maybe in 3 or 4 years, which is gonna require a rezone or a change, possibly. They're not gonna know that until they call in to find out.
Right. But like
But-
right now, when they get a request for someone to parcel off,
Mhm.
it's called subdivide. When the neighbors get a note saying your neighbor's putting in a subdivision, we've had the room full before, and literally 5 minutes after the meeting starts, we
Well-
explain what happened, and then everybody
Or
leaves, so,
people come in and they say, oh, they just want to make it into 2?
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah,
Well, that's,
yeah, so, but back to your point, part of what he's saying with the comp plan is also educating and engaging constituents. It sounded dirty when you said it.
it's always sounded.
You made it sound dirty. But no, but like getting people engaged so that that we do get their feedback before something's wrong and they're not happy. Right? But we're back to the square one. How do you get them? Because some people.
Well, so again, that's why I said, I think that's why Tim went and did what he did with RDA. Basically asked to say, is there potentially a set of eyes that look like this that can put proof of concept together that we can use to go about doing that?
So you would
So
like to
can
go
that's,
with the-
is that something that you guys would like to look at and peruse and
I'd be willing
consider
to hear
going forward?
REA's proposal, but I don't know that we're locked in with one company.
No, we're not. Again, this is just just another thing of saying, here's an idea that has not been tried before. Maybe this will go and accomplish the things that we're trying to accomplish.
100%.
And maybe I'd like to do a direct mail. If you're looking at a target like Van Buren, I'd like to
Sure.
do a direct mail. And again, continually improve flyers and.
And you can get direct mail for pennies on the delivery.
Directly and tell people
Right.
and have a
So if
link.
I can change it here just a little bit to a different subject, finances, who's paying for that?
Well, that's the
You're gonna
next
have
step
you're gonna-
one.
You're gonna have a new contractor coming in, REA, and they're gonna want, obviously want to be paid for it. Where does, just for my own information, where does that come from?
So if I'm gonna, that to sit down and have a conversation between the APC and the commissioner's office, right? Because this ends up falling at this.
Aren't we sitting down, having a conversation?
As far as the financial
Finance,
aspect of it,
budgets.
budgeting aspect of it, right? Because we're getting ready to head into 2027.
Has REA reviewed the document that we have now that we're trying to get the proposed comprehensive plan?
Yeah, I gave them a link to the comp plan. I gave them a link to the notes.
Okay, so
They put it together and put an RFP and say, yeah, we could do that makes sense from
How
a
much?
planning professional. So it makes sense. You could do these modules at townships.
how much?
Didn't ask,
Didn't
didn't know if
ask.
you guys would support it.
Well, I know
See, that's
before,
what the RFP is though, right? They're
Right.
preparing the RFP to send out to get requests
yeah,
from all consultants.
'Cause
So we
when we-
could get $140,000
yeah.
quote like we did this last time.
Right.
Well, if you remember, we had one of those companies, no, it was Veritas. It was like $1,500 for the community engagement thing that we did, and I'm like, where did you spend that money? I know your salaries, but like, we can get some barbecue and,
But I checked with REA
Well,
too, and
Kevin,
REA was
I'd like to
double
go back
that.
to what you said. I'm still not following, you said the commissioners, the APC would have to sit down and come up with some kind of a,
Again,
Right.
it's going to a budget discussion, right? Because again, we are a part owner in this, it comes before us, right? So I'm not sitting there saying, it is a team. I operate on the team concept here. We're all trying to find a direction, head in that direction and row in the same direction. So again, it can't simply just be throwing the APC or Kayla in front of the council and saying, hey, we need $140,000 for this. I'm perfectly willing as
Oh,
a
so
commissioner to
you're
sit down
saying
and
you-
craft and say, let's put this plan together, and let's put these conversations together. And I think, I'll say it again, there's a relationship that is much more cooperative, let's put it that way, than there has been. In trying to say, you have this issue, you have this concern, let's address it. Right? Again, the whole prosecutor's office, let's go down the bridge discussions and all those things, let's go down
well,
the,
that sounds
the
good.
repairs and all
I
that
don't think
stuff.
I don't understand your internal minutiae on some of the stuff and how the council and the commissioners and stuff actually get along and how you work with that, but, yeah.
it's on YouTube, it's kind of entertaining.
It's gonna come down to
Sometimes.
money. It will come down to money.
Blood for punishment.
Hold for a second, please, yes.
Just for your information, the town comprehensive.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
I am Phil McCown,
Phil McCown.
private citizen. Full disclosure, I'm also the vice president of the town redevelopment commission. The town financed the town comprehensive plan 100% with its 3 tips.
Is there any
And the
more?
gift from the community foundation.
There was the initial effort that was financed by, the initial exploratory effort that was financed by the foundation.
We appreciate you coming. Is there any more money in that tip?
Yes.
There you go. It sounds like we had the meeting on the right night.
Take a vote?
Done, yeah.
Have a motion?
So moved.
No, I'm just saying, I mean, you're talking about financing this.
Well, we don't have a TIF
I
in
know
the
you
county,
don't.
right?
But now,
There's
the
nothing,
TIF,
there's nothing stopping you.
those are taxing districts. I don't know that you could take that money from taxing
Yeah, that's what I
districts
was wondering
and
too.
spend it on the county.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of
It's up
like
to the
the,
county.
it's like the fire, it's like the fire service. You can't have one township paying for an ambulance and running it all over the county.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps Nashville's situation.
I don't know if that's the
is
same
unique.
case, but that's what I kind of see.
Yeah,
Uh,
TIF funds can only be spent in the TIF allocation area,
Correct.
Right.
so.
Yeah.
So if it was allocated for like Bean Blossom, it could only be used for Bean Blossom.
If
Yeah,
it's
but
a
those
TIF.
are all, those are all town TIFs, right? So that
Yeah.
it's all within the town,
Within town,
and it's
yeah.
usually for capital improvements.
So if we were,
Correct.
Tim and Kevin, wrong, if we would reopen this up and for more public input and follow some of the procedures on that that you have talked about, and discussed, you would be much more comfortable, I think, with looking at and considering the comprehensive plan that had that type of homework and background to it.
Yeah.
Because am I going to be safe in saying that what we have now, that we've spent money on, you're not going to approve it? That's a question.
It lacks, our concern was community engagement.
Okay, but.
We didn't get you didn't get the feedback we're comfortable with and
Okay, but
approving a
this
plan
isn't-
that goes to the entire county.
I hear
So
that.
rather than
But-
waste
wait a
the
minute,
money-
just a second. You're not going to approve this as a set?
We haven't approved it, no.
Well, okay.
So what, I'll try, tag team.
Go ahead.
I think what Randy's trying to say is, Tim, rather than start over with REA or another company and develop a new comprehensive plan, can we take this one, work with them and improve?
Okay, but.
Like, can we just adjust? Is there something we can add or subtract after we get community engagement? You know what I mean? Like, Veritas has already been paid. I don't care if their name's on it. It's irrelevant to me It's our information. That's why I never understood why they got so passionate about a couple things to
Yes.
start with. They're not, they don't live here. It has nothing to do with them once they leave. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
They do, a bunch of those guys own property here. and
Do they really?
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Okay, so the commissioners have not yet asked for, this board of commissioners have not yet asked for public input on this document.
Correct.
Should that be our next step? Like, if we think we're gonna get people in for a bunch of money, why can't we prototype it at a free commissioners meeting that already happens? And say, hey, come here and tell us what you think about this. That might be a good starting point. I'm just thinking, I don't wanna throw away all the work and all the money.
How many folks did you have show up at the public hearings for the comp plan?
I can't remember.
Wait, when you say public hearing, the informational meetings?
You had public hearings, right?
Yeah,
I'm
there was
telling you,
one
just
person
let me
that
say
spoke.
we're talking about not letting you have chickens anymore.
There was
and I'll
one
pack
person
the
that
room.
spoke, that was Dina Patrick.
I don't think you're ever gonna get enough
No.
to satisfy
No.
you, Tim. I don't mean you personally.
No, that's not true.
Not you personally. I mean, we'd all like to see more and more people get involved in policy development in government. But most people are very, very reluctant to do that unless they got a real axe to grind on something.
The town had 2 input meetings, and there would be 75 people at one and 100 at the other.
And I can walk from one end to the other.
Correct.
I mean,
That's
that's,
pretty good for your size.
right, that's great, but you
Yeah.
can't expect 100 people to drive 10 miles.
I understand that we're not talking about the same thing, but I would recommend that you at least consider the experience that the town has had in putting together a comprehensive plan. One of the advantages of working with REA is they're already at least familiar with the town and hence with at least the periphery of the part of it's the county.
The town's
And that's why I
already
reached
passed
out to them
The
too. I
town has
thought that would
already
be
passed
beneficial.
theirs,
Okay.
and we are now on to the Unified Development Ordinance, and that is where the reexamination of the zoning comes in. The comprehensive plan doesn't talk about zoning.
Right.
And in fact, that was something we really wanted to get across because people were freaking out that, oh my gosh, you're gonna rezone everything. No, that's
Right.
not what they're doing. The big lift there was convincing everyone that this is your plan, it's public input, we're not going in with preconceived notions. And frankly, I think the product will stand for itself. It's quite good.
I've read it.
I would recommend that you at least consider the process that the town went through. I know there's all kinds of history with town and county and all that, but come on.
That didn't come into play with this.
Not at all.
That's
Not
good.
at all.
That's good.
Sandy and I have a great
I'm glad to hear
relationship. We
that.
work together through the whole
Okay.
thing.
I'm glad
So-
to hear that.
So I'm,
Did we get an estimate from REA?
No, they would not even give us one.
Okay, I think that was because the timing didn't work for them because
Yeah.
they were
That's
so
what they
involved
said.
with
Well, and
this.
that's the same now.
And
They-
they had
Well,
to
they're
do
involved
UDO
now with the UDO for the town, and
That's
they
changed.
estimate that as an 18-month process.
So is there a conflict of interest
No.
having them work on
No.
county
On
and
the
county?
contrary, I think it's an advantage.
Well, I was kind of asking them.
Oh, sorry.
No, I just,
Oh, I don't think there'd be a conflict of interest. You mean for the
For REA.
For
To
the
do both. I
town
don't
and the
think
county to
it-
hire the
I don't-
same subcontractor to do the same.
Sure, but I,
The law says.
Okay. Randy, I guess to address your question, to me, it's, you have a session, it's a prototype, it's a proof of concept, you have a few meetings at Van Buren, you get the input, that we kind of outlined, the kind of information we want to share, the input, do a direct mail, get as many people there, they've got the volunteer fire department, they got a little, bulletin board up there that they can inform people, make as much contact as we can, have a few meetings, and validate your plan. We ask folks, here's your township, here's the zoning, here's what's allowed in these zonings, and get their input. If that input validates the plan, great. That's the kind of feedback I'm looking for, to validate the plan.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Not where.
But one moment, please. I just want to take it back a step. We have 10 pages of the communication we did with the people that showed up. What type of character should growth resemble? How should Brown County increase funding opportunities? How would you prioritize investment to encourage growth in the county? what type of housing is needed in the county. I said 10 pages, but there are 2 on each one.
And each one, understand that each one of those questions was derived from what are the things that we see as a board
Right.
and on the BZA
Right,
monthly that we're dealing with that is in contradiction to our own document.
exactly.
So that was kind of why some of those questions, I mean, we spent months coming up with just the questions.
Right.
What's your
As
point?
far as,
What was you getting
yeah,
at?
finish.
So my point is that, and not to put you down or anything, but we did get feedback. We got as much feedback as we could get under the circumstances. You know, in this day and age, people don't want to, they don't want to deal with junk mail, and they don't want to deal with phone calls if it's not a number that they recognize as stuff, because to them, it's spam and everything.
Kayla, how many responses did we get on the survey? Because, hey, I'm gonna tell you, that's don't sleep on being able to send out that survey, because that's really cheap, right? To send out a survey on there?
Yeah, it was like $99.
That, if you want different questions, I guess my whole in summation, I don't want to start over without a more like what you want.
We're not starting over.
Right, but I'm saying where do we go from here? You said you're not there yet.
The town part's done, okay? We want to tweak what's going on in the county. We have to do our due diligence.
100%.
And we have to talk, communicate, come back. I think this was a great first meeting.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just the first meeting.
I'm just saying, like, let me know, I was trying to look for I was hoping for a list of, hey, it's short here, here, and here. These 3 things are what we need to address. Hey, we need community input. That's the glaring thing.
Around 400,
Okay, so
if my math
there's
is mathing.
14,000 people in the community.
15,
What's our 15? What's our percentage? What's our target? What's a win to be considered successfully engaged? You know what I mean? Like, let's get some targets that we can work towards to make something happen.
That's another conversation.
So I think the bottom line is you'd like to see more public input. And I think.
Us too.
By
with
area.
us and the APC, that could probably work out.
And that those input sessions may validate your plan.
Yeah.
Problem with surveys, guys,
They may
it's
do
not
what?
statistical and it's anecdotal.
Say that one more time.
It's not statistical and it's anecdotal.
Anecdotal.
I still don't understand.
What, our plan now?
Wouldn't you say?
Survey
surveys.
I mean,
data.
Oh, the survey, okay.
But wouldn't you say that if someone were, like, if they got a code, what are they called?
QR code.
I'm a Gen Xer, guys, I'm sorry. If you get a QR code at the poll when you were voting, and you said, huh, okay, and you scan it on your phone and you fill it out,
And I think that's what did it,
and
is us
there's,
handing those out at the polls.
and there's 400 responses, you cannot catalog, you can't do anything with that data?
How many questions were not answered?
What do you mean?
How
I
many
think we
questions
can
on
pull-
survey
it
weren't
tracks
answered?
every, you can get the
There were a
metrics on
lot that
everything.
weren't answered.
About 44%, if I remember the number.
I didn't see a percentage of ones that weren't answered.
A statistical sample is a random sample of a population. You take a certain percent. That's statistically valid. If you want to apply those results countywide, you need a statistical survey to do that. If you just want a general opinion on a random group of people, you do a survey you do SurveyMonkey. That's anecdotal. I wouldn't take that to the bank. It's nice,
No,
it's
and I'm not-
input.
So I see what you're saying. I understand. It was the metric in which we applied that, so we shouldn't do SurveyMonkey anymore because it's not
Well,
a,
it gives you feedback, but what I do with that, you're implying that those results ought to be applied countywide.
No,
I'm not
no,
into
no,
that.
Only public input we got.
I wouldn't go there.
yeah.
I wouldn't go
I
there.
have them- Okay,
Let me
I
add
have
one
minutes.
more anecdote about the town comprehensive plan. We kind of floundered for a while, and once we got REA, not only did we have some focus, but REA actually helped us implement those town meetings, those input meetings. They organized them. They had them all set up in library A and B. And it wasn't just somebody asking, well, what do you folks want? It was really guided into various focus groups and what actually, it teased out public sentiment. And I would suggest that if you do get REA back, that you include that as part of the proposal, is how would you organize and how would you get this public
Well,
input
I
that we
mean,
want so
Derek
much?
just did the same thing.
So
They gave us directions.
We
and
went
stuff.
through, I mean, it wasn't
Okay.
just
Yeah,
it wasn't
they
just
did.
like a pizza party.
Well,
And then
did
we
they-
had
did
steering team committee meetings
Okay.
after that went through all the data for months. So, I mean, it wasn't, we didn't rush it.
But I think.
What was your budget for your comprehensive plan? What'd you guys end up spending?
Oh,
80.
80.
Okay, and what'd we spend?
37.
37.
Okay, so we knew when we voted to hire Veritas that we were gonna spend the money we had to make progress. And one of our conversations was, we can do the Veritas route, which is what, a less than comprehensive plan, or we can do RIP. The other guys quote or approach and just do SWOT. So just gather information, spend that 30 grand
Just to get.
getting public input. That was, and we all, like, we voted, no, let's go the other way.
I think it was underfunded. I mean, you're just not going to get some.
That's exactly right.
absolutely.
Right.
We did not
We
have
knew
the
it was
pennies, the
under-
funds to do
To
it.
the point that I'm not even sure I would have proceeded under those circumstances.
Well, some of us scratched our heads. But you're absolutely right. The funding was the deciding factor ultimately.
But we had two companies that could provide us two different products. One was the finished product that we wanted, not quite as comprehensive as we wanted it. The other one was a bunch of information for a finished product, and then in 2026, reapply, get the balance of whatever grants that they were talking about, and finish it. That was,
Yeah, I
that
think
was
the
the
problem-
other company's approach.
The funding part of this is always going to be the tricky part of that, because
Yeah, it will.
we just don't fall into any area that, Okra's not going to help us.
No.
No, right.
It's just not going to
How
happen.
much it was that they.
And that was very
how much did
disappointing
they
when we
say it
found
was gonna
out.
cost for the
Yeah.
county?
But you
All out.
But there was more than okra, and I've got it
Yeah, there
in one of my
was. I don't
notebooks.
remember.
I tried to keep notes as they were talking,
That
but
much cash.
Did Veritas produce that document?
Yes.
yes,
The one, yeah, that document.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to add to say, I don't want to start over.
I don't
I-
either.
Do you
I
want
think
us to
it's-
hire REA or get an
I
RFP
don't,
from REA?
I
to get-
basically want to see if you can go through the exercise. There's a proof of concept, let's just take a next step, let's just take and identify one action item that needs to come from here. How about we take the proof of concept that he got from REA, he shares it with this board. You go through the exercise, look and see what you think about that proof of concept. Because I think the thing is about it is I will sit there and say, he's right. We're statistically insignificant, the input we have. So
You say what?
it's statistically insignificant, the input we have. When you only had 200 and some people engaged in these kinds of activities out of 15,000, you are not sampling correctly. And I'm not comfortable making a decision on 200 people.
I think it's healthy that you
Are you-
recognize that up front.
Are you
That's what we
2,000?
said at the meeting.
We asked
all
what the,
agreed.
we asked
So
what
far,
the,
the process hasn't really.
A statistic, and again, I'm shooting a number off the top of my head, statistic significance, an example to me is at least 10% of the population, if not maybe 20%.
so you
We
want
did-
2,000 responses, 2,000 engagements.
When we-
Or, let me finish this line of, or we wait and don't pass the comprehensive plan until we get 2,000 engagements?
No, I don't know that that's the case.
That's not the case. When you look at the statistically valid survey, when I did the income survey for the strategic plan back in 2017. We had a grant administrator do that one. We had, of the 7,000, I think you had residents is population size. I think we had to go out and get 600. That was statistically significant. That got us funding for a strategic plan.
What was the population then?
About the same, 15,000, but
were those
they wanted
targeted?
residents.
Were those targeted, or were they just?
No, it's residents. I gave them a database.
Full-time residents or part-time residents?
Residents, people lived here.
What'd you say, 600?
600 was the
So we were
sample
at
size.
400, I mean, we're not,
Randomly selected,
In 3 months?
It was random.
randomly selected.
How much you get back on that?
Well, we got the, whatever the federal government needed to validate, to certify those numbers is what we got. I think we got 600.
Well, I mean, you can send that.
I don't know how many they sent out, but we got 600. We had a great
Wait,
response on
what does
it.
randomly selected mean?
I mean, and we happened within a month. Surveys went out, people filled them out and sent them back in. I mean, we had a quick return on those things.
So if we did a Survey Monkey and got 600, then it would be statistically viable or no?
No, it's random sample. You start off, I think we may have had
So
a
you
population.
targeted with yours? You
We start-
targeted who you were sending them to?
We
or no?
started with residents.
Residents.
They had to be residents of the county. So I think there's maybe 6,000 or 7,000 residents. You do a random number generator on 7,000, and then you pick 600. They're randomly selected. That is statistically valid within 98%,
So of the
Plus or
600
minus.
that you selected, how many responded?
all of them. We got 600 responses. I don't know how
Out
many.
of the statistical number that was identified, there were 600.
The random sample, the statistical sample is 600.
Okay,
But you sent out more than 600.
Don't know what the total was, but we got
that's
it
what I was
back.
trying to say, like,
That's
Yeah,
the point
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, that's what we're.
I don't
Did
think
you
we
send
sent
out
out,
that-
we didn't send out 7,000. We
No,
sent out
you sent out
600.
1,000 and got 600. That's what,
No, we sent, I bet you we sent out about 600, maybe 620. I think we had like almost a 95% return rate on those.
wow.
So I found the numbers I was looking for. We had 390 people answer the survey. 18 of those were not residents.
Okay.
So not a big,
Yeah, but again,
Number.
okay.
But we can kick those out, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, through that.
yeah, I mean, this is just how long have you lived in Brown County?
So again, sounds like we've got an action item. We run, this company that you're talking about, REA, already has a format,
An RFP, yeah.
an
They sent me their proposal.
So they've already sent it to you, so
You
we don't
sent
need
the
to send out an
RFP.
RFP.
You
I
sent
thought
the
an
RFP.
No,
RFP.
no, I'd send it to you. I'd send this is the guidance I gave them. They came back and said, here's what we can do. Good idea. We can do a prototype, a proof of concept. We can pick it in one township.
So
They came
you
back.
sent out an RFP.
Just basically
I
a request.
asked them, gave them the plan, gave them this handout. Well, I gave them links to the information, gave them about 2 or 3 pages of general guidance, and they came back with, hey, we break it up in matrices, and here's what we can do. And then they came back with, here's the kind of meetings that we could facilitate within a
Just
certain area.
basically, basic information was provided with regards to the comprehensive plan, and then along with the information that you just seen here.
So you've
And they
already
came back and
started,
said,
you've
here's what a
initiated.
proof of
That's
concept.
what I'm,
I
so
just
what
want-
I'm asking is, we don't need to seek other companies. We have one that we're not gonna ask anybody else to bid that's doing the same thing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, look at the proof of concept and let's just validate to see if it's something
You
that's.
keep saying RFP, what do you mean?
Request for purchase.
I kind of asked for a request for a proposal.
Okay, that's
I
what,
said, hey,
that's
here's
what I
what-
always know.
I said,
is,
here's
but
what we're
they don't give
thinking.
it to you, you give it to them.
Yeah, I gave them guidance saying, here's what we're looking for.
Asking them to give you a
Here's what we've done.
Give me a
Does a
proposal.
proof of concept
keep
make
saying-
sense? Give me a proposal.
They're gonna send him an RFP.
No.
He needs to request an RFP. you know.
So
Yeah,
did they send a number back? For like-
No.
No, we're
cost.
not there yet. I didn't know I didn't know where you guys would fall on this thing.
Okay.
I'm
And
down,
Kayla, I think I sent you an early version of that. You
Yeah, but
thought,
I never saw a number. That's what I
Oh,
was just
okay.
asking.
No, well,
That's
again,
where my
and I
we
don't-
mind-
certainly weren't gonna ask for something that costs more
We
money
don't have any money.
after spending $37,000.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you spent 10,000 of your money.
we were responsible for, because
All the funds.
that gift could have gone to somebody, I mean, somewhere else.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to come off combative, I'm not. I'm just trying to say, if you just tell us what you want, that's what we'll do. Like, we thought we were doing what you wanted.
Well, that's, the fact is, we'll have to depend on you when it comes to funding this.
Well, that's the next step.
Okay.
One is the concept
I
makes
don't- I
sense,
don't-
and then we look
I
for the
don't-
bill.
Caleb, I'm not talking out of turn here. We really don't have any other options here in terms of money and funding, do we?
Not even close.
No, not even close. So we're gonna have to look at something different. Now you guys are at the table with us and we're here with you. So we're gonna look to you for what do you suggest in terms of funding? And I have no problems
Have a problem
myself
with
of
that.
bringing more people in for opinions and ideas Tim, that I think that you're really pointing at here. This plan that we have met all statutory requirements, okay? We did what we were supposed to do. The question is, you don't think it was enough in terms of information from the community. And you may be right. You may be right. I mean, but the mechanics of that is, how do you get that information in from people? How do you generate that interest? And that's not always easy to do.
Because we've had meetings and meetings and meetings talking about exactly that.
If you go back to the minutes, yeah, it was discussed.
So I think we did pretty much all we could do. And now it's, I guess it's time to address your concerns, all three of you.
You can assume that we're all three on the page.
I shouldn't
We
use
want to
assume,
look,
should I?
you can assume we all three going to look at this movie.
Okay, all right.
Is this draft available to the public?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on your website.
It's on the website.
Okay.
it's under planning department,
Okay.
and it's draft
So-
number 3.
What's the next move, manager?
So that's, again, so,
Wait a minute, before we, because it sure felt like a conclusion there.
I'm good.
Ron, you're not on board with that yet.
No, I done said that.
I know, and I'm just clarifying, do you have a list of items that you would like, what is it about it that needs to be different? So that we've got some bullet points. I know we need more public engagement. If that's it,
It's too boilerplate for me, because it looks like it's 30 years old. The wording in this looks like we've been here before, and the public had to fit with it. So let us do our due diligence. We can come back, have another meeting, and we can be able to tell you where we're at that point.
so let me answer his question.
Okay, because this gentleman's got a question.
Okay. So to you saying what I point to, again, as I go through and seeing the zoning issues that have been coming across the boards, the one thing that I see is we lack addressing the issues with regards to how to better work with our small businesses in our community.
well, that's a recent, that was,
It's not a recent, it's just come to light because of a situation, but it's always
yeah, but
been.
really not, I mean, yes.
Well, that's,
yes,
Kevin, that's a little bit above and beyond. Like,
Yeah,
once
that-
again, the scopes of, we're.
I'm not saying they set ordinances in it, but again, it's again, I know that comes after the fact, right? You go through your plan, you identify those things, but
Our big things before were tourist rentals. Do we want more or we got enough? That was because that's something that we bump into every month,
right.
every month.
Economic development is not part of the comprehensive plan.
Right. We
Understood.
know it helps solve it, but yeah.
But I think it's unique in our area because we do have so many small businesses that are significant here, right? It's a servicing of a community like ours and it fits there. And again, I don't know how it fits.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wagler.
Kenny Wagler, I really appreciate all the work that's been done on that plan, because I know how hard it is to put a plan together. I've helped on one. But I read it through the last few days, and I somehow missed out on all the notifications. And I have a smartphone, and which a lot of older guys that flip phones, so they wouldn't be able to,
Give me one of these.
Well, I can. So how do you scan a QR code on one of them?
You don't.
You don't.
No.
So I think what the commissioners are saying, I would agree with totally. I read the first 50 pages, and I don't think I heard one thing about anything other than even any towns other than Nashville or tourism. I think there was maybe a few things alluded to, but tourism in Nashville was mentioned numerous times. Bean Blossom, some of the other areas were not mentioned. And if you take the public and they get online and read that, they're gonna write you guys off before you ever start.
That's correct.
Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the division there is between county and Nashville. I'm not there. I'm just saying, you need to have, I mean, there's, 200,000 acres of timber in this county. There's a lot of loggers. Nothing was mentioned there. There's farmers, there's 12.
There are definitely industrials here that we don't recognize.
Yes, and so So you need to mention them, if it's not, it just needs to be mentioned. It needs to be brought out that, yeah, this is important, open spaces, farming is important, encourage, farm markets and things like that. That would be, and you hit the ball on the head when you said Bean Blossom is a lost place. That is really, we're losing there.
I'm sorry, Bean Blossom is what?
It's
A lost opportunity.
lost
Oh,
opportunity.
okay.
Really, for that matter, Morgantown too, but I mean, it's not ours technically, but,
From Bean Blossom to the line right there at Morgantown, there's so much potential there.
yeah. Same with, from here to Belmont, and Belmont to
Yep.
County, I mean, you can't really do anything on 35
Well, so
South,
it's-
just look at it and
The comprehensive plan really is to, I'm gonna shut up after this,
lie.
is,
And get you to sign on a dotted line.
no, I'm not signing anything. Is, we're asking people what they want Brown County to look like in the next 20 years, 25 years. That's the
Right.
bottom line. And the regulatory agencies that handle that should be using that as a guide. We don't. Almost no planning commissions do. I hate to bring that up, but most of them, when they're developed, are put on a shelf. So I think part of this learning experience is that we probably ought to bring the development code, our comprehensive plan, into more of a focused, utilized, referenced document. I know that from the county I came from. It took us 2 days to find the comprehensive plan up there one day, buried in the office. And that's no joke. And, but it happens everywhere. So if we're going to get a good plan, I think we should, I think we will, then let's utilize it.
And I think the many hours that you guys were on it, you want it to be used.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the way I felt.
Well, and it's not, yes, we want it to be used, but we also don't want to look foolish when people come up with petitions for things. And our own code counter, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just missing. So I've always said, like, I'm a volunteer. I don't have a personal agenda in getting anything. Like, I don't have strong feelings about a certain vein of what we're doing. I'm not in it for that. I'm in it to help represent and make decisions for people. And I don't want to make it on my own. I want to know what they say. We said that from the beginning. Like,
What's our next step? Where do we go from here?
So I send out what I got from REA,
Let's
Then
chew
you
it
make
over and
this
we'll
decision.
schedule another meeting.
then we can
you
go
like
over,
this
the next
thing,
meeting,
usually
we can go over that.
didn't you? We're make it a regular.
No.
We need one more meeting a month, Ron.
Yeah, another meeting.
To be honest with y'all, I kind of, some people don't like to hear this phrase, but I've been around a long time. I know Kenny's been around a long time. Mr. Schilling's been around a long time. Driving down the road, Brown County looks a whole lot like it's always looked. Now, when I was trustee, I noticed I get off the roads, and that's where I see the differences. And it's usually expensive homes.
Sure.
Nice homes. You go back these little, I didn't even, some of them close to me. I didn't even realize it. But out 20 years ago campaigning or so, I went back in roads and I went, gosh, when did this all happen? And it's only got more. And the homes have only got more expensive. And they put them in harder places. And I don't know, it's a big issue, so I'm good if you all are good for tonight.
So I think the thing I hear is he's going to send the proposal the information that we got from REA. And then like I said, look it over, ponder it over, make recommendations, changes we can then engage and go forward, and then have them go through and say, well, if you're looking to go forward, here's what that dollar sign needs to be. And then that will give the commissioners the opportunity to go through and say, where do we need to step in and help and try and fund?
Sounds good.
And it would be easier to identify a 2-year plan over a 25-year plan.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. But
If you gotta redo it every 2 years anyway.
No, I thought it was supposed to be your focus, I thought your comprehensive plan was supposed to be focused on like a 15 or 20 years out.
it's supposed to.
But you're supposed to update it every,
2 to 5.
yeah. And so you're looking out, way out in the future, but you are updating it.
I'd be happy if we could get it to 5. Okay?
Get, what, 5?
5 years of planning. 5, what does it look like in 5 years?
Okay, one more since before we close, real quick.
No.
Yep, real quick.
no.
We've talked about it a couple of times. I've brought it up individually with people. The high school has reached out wanting opportunities for students to serve and to be involved. What do we got to do to get it at a county? It doesn't need to be individually. Would it need to be the assessor's office has to do this program and the APC has to do this program and the recorder's office has to do, or can we just say, hey, send us 5 kids a week or whatever, and let somebody start developing, because there's plenty of stuff to put kids busy doing.
And you mean involved in county government?
Involved in, we had talked about getting the girls some help.
Right.
And it's like, why don't we use, Kyle said, because he did a program with the surveyor's office when he was in high school, before he went to Rose Holman,
I know what you're talking about.
right? Like, it got him involved and we can still do that in the school.
In other words,
keep
you're
our-
facing basically looking at a mentorship program.
It's not even a mentorship, it's internship.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for.
Hopefully, you engage them in civic engagement and they see what their county government is and does.
Very valuable.
But you're also getting them out of school and they're working, and we get some free labor. Are we being recorded? We get,
They are now.
we get some positive opportunities for students to do like data entry and social media and stuff like that. I would, as long as we can figure out how to approve it before they post it, that would be probably important.
That it?
No, you didn't, that was a,
That was
Are we
the,
doing this again next month? When do we want to look at another meeting?
died on the vine right there.
no,
I
it didn't,
wrote it
so
down.
let me, let me not let her kill that. I'd like to see that, because that's one of the concerns I have here, is that, you know, I have an 80-year-old father and he had absolutely no idea what the hell the surveyor did in this county.
We don't want him coming in here.
No.
We're talking about somebody younger.
I know,
Okay.
but again, that has a lack, I think, and part of it is getting our younger constituents engaged and involved and exposed.
Well, the vast
Okay?
majority of
He
people,
would bring character.
He would bring, yes, he would definitely bring character.
I'm just saying,
History.
somebody showed that to me this week. I don't remember who,
I said to you.
but it was from, I think, Dean Kefauver. Was it Dean?
Dean Kiefhoffer?
Kefauver?
Starts with a K.
Anyway, I know him, I just didn't know how to say his
I
last
just
name. Man, that'd be huge. I know we would use them one day a week, I'm sure. If we could have a kid on Wednesdays or on every, what is their block scheduling still? So it'd be 2 on, 3 off, like every other day or
We would
whatever.
take them for one-time payment or anytime they want to come up here and get out of 5th period.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're offering it out to the whole community, which
Yeah.
is great.
Right. I don't have the authority to call the high school and say, yeah, send one over. I'm hoping you guys do.
Try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it in the news.
And I would think that some of those kids would come from Eagle Manufacturing, but the contact person I would say that you would contact related to that would be Gavin Steele.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, because
So,
he's,
but who has the authority to do that? Is that the question?
Well, who pulls the trigger and says, send them?
So the question, I think, is that kind of sets in an HR responsibility.
Yeah,
So it sets in the
I'm
commissioner's
writing it all
office.
down. There will be things that have to be
I'm
done.
sorry, I'm not trying to cause work for you.
No, you're
We've
good.
talked about it for a year.
We
It's
have
like,
to.
Give me a
They have-
student to help her with
they have
that.
a-
right, yeah.
Yeah. Believe me, we could all use,
I guarantee you there's kids that would go out with him and go, holy crap, you mean I can make a living?
Yeah.
Walking around the
Motion
woods.
dismissed.
holding a
Yeah,
stick.
the commissioner's going to make a motion to adjourn our session.
second, so,
All right,
did we set the meeting?
Commissioner meeting
wait a
adjourned.
minute, Brown County
Okay,
Planning
APC,
Commission.
done.
sit down.
I gotta-
We have to adjourn.
Close the
I'm
meeting,
done.
any motion?
Wait a minute, I have a question from the planning commission. Kayla, did we set up a date for another meeting?
I didn't get an answer.
Set one up for next month, same
That's
working
fine.
session. I'll send the
Okay. We
RP
have
out.
one petition that may or may not come to fruition for next month's APC.
I'm all
For
about
our
being
agenda.
engaged.
Okay.
And I've told you guys, I've told all of you individually, if there's something I can do, let me know. Help.
So we'll plan to meet next month. It won't be right at 6 o'clock. We will still meet at 6 o'clock.
Okay,
But we've got one petition, like I said, that may or may not.
all right.
Can you just send out an email? Tell us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I move that we adjourn the planning. commission.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Second, aye.
Put your hand down when
Was
you're
it finished?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because it makes it
Finish.
difficult.
Yeah, she said there was a planning commission.
Well, you know.
Oh,
we're
we
here.
just hadn't adjourned.
Yeah.
We hadn't.
Sorry.